Okay, so let's talk about assignment four. So in assignment four, all I want you to do is set up a project, very much like I did here. So you need to have at least two audio tracks. You need to have at least, let's say, three to five audio samples, and it could be any sample you want. It could be you talking, it could be you singing, it could be you playing, it could be a fragment of a song that you found. It doesn't matter as long as the you create you have enough material to work with. It's not just one thing. Now also make sure that the sound files that you choose look good. In other words, that they don't clip, they're not too loud. This one here is very quiet, for example. It's not a great one to use, but you want them to be decent. You don't want them to be clipping everywhere or something like that. So all of those things are going to count. Basically, it's more of a technical execution that I'm looking for. I don't really care particularly for what particular sound you're going to use or which style. It doesn't matter to me. None of that matters. Okay, so you're going to have at least two audio tracks with two separate things. Then you're going to have at least two, preferably three different effects. And it could be instances of the same effect, like I did here. You can have two different reverbs. You can have a pitch shifter and a reverb and something else. But the idea is that you create them as auxiliary tracks, which basically just means that they're tracks that don't have any audio in them. They're just tracks that you send audio to. And then I want you to go through the steps that I went through here for each of the audio tracks that you have. I want you to uncheck the master parent send. I want you to add the send. I want you to route the sound to wherever it is that you're trying to send it to, and then also create a clean auxiliary track so that it's just plain clean sound. Now I want you to also monitor the overall levels before you export the project, because you want to make sure that things are not getting too loud. Because when all this stuff adds together, remember you're adding all these different sounds together. So you want to make sure that the overall volume here isn't too loud. So if it's clipping like crazy, then you want to bring the levels down here, not here. You want to bring them down here so that the overall volume is not too loud. And then in addition, I want you to use some automation, at least once for each of the effects. So use maybe send a little bit of the sound to the clean. I'm sorry, maybe it's not a good example, but a little bit of reverb, and then there's no reverb, and then suddenly there's some pitch shifting. Just get creative, and I want you to do a 2-minute composition. Now, don't be scared by the term composition. Although some of you say, "Oh, but I don't compose. I'm not a composer." I'm not looking for anything in any kind of a key, or it could be anything, even just a whole series of 2 minutes of just you talking and then different effects being applied. It doesn't matter. There doesn't have to be a structure. Now, if there is, fine, great. But what I'm going to be grading you on is not the musical quality of it or whatever. I'm just interested in you being able to technically do the things that I'm asking you to do, which are, in this case, pick some samples, put them here, in two separate tracks, create some auxiliary tracks, send some sound to them, route some sounds to them, control the parameters, which could just be volume going out of it, but you could add more automation than that. At least one instance of automation for each of the, for however many effects that you're using. Um, and I think that's it. There is one more thing. I do want to see your project. So here's the thing. Remember that a Reaper sound file, I'm sorry, a Reaper project file, which is the RPP, for example, this one right here. I don't know if you can see it. This is a Reaper project file. Um, this is just a pointer file. If you just send me this, I won't be able to see. I will be able to see your project, but I won't be able to hear anything. So that's not going to work. You need to have the audio files that come with it. So what I need you to do is I need you to put the sound files that you're going to use, the sound samples, in one folder. Save the Reaper project in the same folder. And then, in addition to that, I also want you to balance it. I also want you, when you're all done, I want you to go to File, Render or bouncing are the same thing. And then I want you to also export it as a sound file. So I want to see all of those things together because all these things are important. I want to be able to see the project and see how you work with Reaper. And I also want to be able to see that you can take a project and turn it into a sound file. Make sure it's not clipping, make sure there's not like all this dead silence at the beginning or at the end. Typically what I do before rendering is I do this. I select, right here there's a selection right now, which you can get rid of by clicking right here in the remove selection, or you can just go up here and just click and drag. And what happens here is I've now selected the length of my sound file. So then I can go to File, Render, and I can specify here where it says entire project. I can say time selection, which basically just makes sure. Although Reaper's pretty good about that, about figuring out how long your project is, but you can specify and say I only want this much. I only want to. Let's say you have all this additional stuff that you did back here that you don't want to use and you don't want to render. You don't want that to be part of your project. Then just select a portion, go to render, and under render bounds here, say time selection. And if you have any questions, of course, just let me know, and I'll talk to you soon.